Thank you so much for joining us on another exciting episode of Keeping It 100. It's unscripted.
Yeah.
Everything raw. Yeah, everything raw. I'm Christy and I'm joined by my amazing ladies here. The whole podcast team, the crew, everybody here. We have Mocha.
Who are not afraid to say things.
Yeah, we're unafraid. We're unafraid. I think it's just important that you express yourself freely.
Somehow, somewhere.
Somehow, somewhere. I'm chosen here.
Right here. And we have Helen, your girl Helen.
Hi.
And we have the yummy mommy ravishing.
Thank you.
Might be going through under-identification crisis because she's still trying to figure out her name, but nevertheless, we still go on. Now, do remember, when it comes to the podcast, we are not professionals. We are just sharing experiences, giving out our opinions. And if you feel you have an opinion to give out on the topic that we have at hand, please get to like our Facebook page and get to post or share your thoughts about the topic. Or you can also suggest a topic. You might actually get to discuss it just here. Like imagine a whole topic that you give us, like by us. Amazing, right? Now today's topic is very special. Drama. We are talking sex. I know women out there they're like, we
Others are just like, huh?
I think we live in a generation where we've grown up coming from places where you can't talk about sex. It's prohibited to say anything about sex or how you feel about it. But I think now with time, people are starting to be comfortable to talk about sex. But we're also talking about sex when you're married. Like, how are you communicating better with your partner when you want to get your freak on? You know these things. And it's the podcast, so you know what we're about. Now, when we speak sex, it's very general.
Yeah.
Why? And we have married women here. We have
Soon to be
married, technically single but emotionally unavailable type of people. They said until you're married, you've signed a paper. That's when you are not more single. So, is like another one. You never know. But yes. So, but we've all, I think, had communications when it comes to sex and that. I want to start with Mocha. When it comes to sex,
why are you guys? Why? Like, because this is your forte.
Like, very few would understand.
Okay, hit me.
Yeah, so let's talk about sex. Like, you're married. Mocha, you have an amazing, hardworking husband.
Yeah.
Beautiful kids.
Yeah.
Do you live in? How's your communication when it comes to sex? Do you try and lure him into the parlor?
First of all, I think communication is key.
Mm-hmm.
In marriage, especially, you would attest to that. People who have stayed in marriage for a while, you always need to liven it up. You know what I mean? You need to come up with new ideas, try this, try that. And the only way you can do that is if you communicate. So, of course, for me, I feel I reached a stage where I felt like, okay, I think we need to go back to the way it all started. Bring back the fire, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's very important you communicate, but one thing is that what you are interested in may not be your partner's interest. So you have to come to a compromise. Yes, you have to come to a compromise, and both of you find something you're comfortable with. I can give an example of sex toys, right? There are people that are comfortable with sex toys, and their partners are not. So then what do? You need to strike a balance. And if you don't communicate, you will not know that. So next thing you're bringing something foreign into your bedroom and your partner is
what's going on?
Witchcraft or what's happening?
Or are you underestimating
Or
me?
you're underestimating me and things like that. So at the end of the day, it all comes back to communication. So I think communication is an important part of anyone's sex life.
Helen, do you think women are limited to sexual preferences?
I think when you say women are limited, I think it's self-limitation and also society, traditions that limit us. Because I think for you to have healthy sexual relationship with your partner, it takes two of you, because if it's healthy, it means both of you are satisfied.
Yes.
So how do you get satisfaction? It shouldn't just be about my man, what my man wants, what my man, when my man wants, where my man wants it from. It should be about me as well. I should be able to express myself. Without being judged. I should be able to tell him what I like, how I like it, without being judged. So that's why you need to have that friendship. Because I think what limits us is like if you're getting married, there's all these traditional lessons that we go through. They don't really allow you to express yourself. What they teach you mostly is about what your man needs, how you satisfy your man. When your man wants, say yes, you can say no, you can't tell him what you want. You know, all those things. So for some women, you go with it and you will listen, everything. But I think men also like it when you suggest things. Because they know that you're also into whatever you're doing. Because I think it feels one-sided if it's only him who tells you, can we do that? You're just there like, you're a robot. Like, yeah, whatever he says, yes, boss. Yes, boss. Like, yeah, so I think if limiting is really about yourself and also our traditions and our culture. But if we can move away from that, I think there's no limitation.
Do you think if a man gives an opinion about you, like let's say your husband throws an opinion towards you either physically or something relating to sex, will it change how?
Is it a negative or positive?
It's a negative. Okay, he says something. For him, maybe it's not even supposed to come out as in it's a, like he's just trying to, will it change how you
give yourself
give yourself to him sexually?
Obviously not. No, but I want to add on to what Mocha had said, and I'm glad to ask that, because much as it's about communication, it's also how you communicate. You know, you don't want to offend your spouse. Maybe you saw something that you just want to try out and spice it up a little bit in your bedroom. So it's also how you bring certain matters across. Someone who think, okay, we've been married 5, 6, 7 years, I've been doing things right. But then it becomes a cliche, you know, routine to some point. You already know that, okay, when I show him this is what he's going to do. So I think when you're trying to spice things up, if my spouse comes to me and suggests something, he should communicate it in a way that won't hurt me, but will make both of us say, okay, how do we go back to the drawing board? How are we in the beginning? What do we need to do? What books do we need to read? What do we need to watch? You know what I mean?
I wanted to when you say that, I wanted to say, is it okay to check some sexual books or videos?
They're out there. Which I think is okay. Seriously.
I seriously
realize
the thin line because
you don't want to. Sorry, Mocha, but you don't want to.
But traditionally, you can't.
You're not supposed to watch sex videos
and magazines.
But I think you can. Because that's the modern way of doing it.
Yes. There are books, and I know there are magazines that there are magazines, books that I've seen, not really not really like you know, there are books, even they even use drawing illustrations. They're not really like porn, but they're just showing you different, you know, sex styles, sex positions that you can explore in case what I'm a missionary. You try out something that you've never tried out before.
I think it reminded me. There was a time I was on Twitter and a pastor from one of our pastors. I'm trying to remember who it was, and he said, "You don't expect me to make love to my wife listening to a gospel song, Don Moyen. You know, like how we have to get in the zone. So there has to be a romantic film to help us.
Sorry, guys.
What do they listen to?
But what about those that were listening to Kings? It depends.
It's so now
preference.
When you spoke of traditions, you know, and all that Alangizi and everything, we've all gone through that phase. We've been there, and we know what they teach us, and we're taught when it comes to a woman, you can't ask for sex, you can't initiate sex. You know what I mean? So it's only when a man wants it and gets it, and for you can't even refuse. You're on your deathbed, you can't. You have it. He needs to get it.
But I think like Helen said,
responsibility.
Like Helen said, I think most times when once in a while you initiate it,
it also makes the guy feel wanted. You know, like, oh, okay,
So I'm
I'm
doing
not
the right thing
exactly.
even.
I'm
Yeah.
not the only one in this.
So now this is like for those out there that feel I want to initiate to my man that I want to have sex, like I want it tonight, and he's not. How help with your experiences of how do you
It's
actually
not receptive or what?
how will you initiate it? She wants lessons of how to get
Without
without offending him to feel like, you know, there are
Christy.
men that will feel like I'm less of a man because she's initiating. You know, there are those men that traditional, it's inclined in them, like if she asks for it,
Sometimes-
they'll create a meeting.
sometimes-
No, but I
But
don't
you know-
think, I don't think they feel they are less of a man. They look at their woman in a certain way, and then you know there's some traditions that
lady in the
Okay, I don't
street,
know, it's
but a frick in the
controversial.
bay.
But you know, there's been this. People are advocating against the pulling of
Labia.
rabies
Mhm.
because scientifically, they're nerves, right?
Mhm.
And when you pull the nerves, in the long run, the sensitivity,
sensitivity
reduces.
goes, yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
unknowingly, we take it as tradition, but your sensitivity reduces, your sexual desire reduces.
Mhm.
Meaning, you're going to be less likely, for example, if your husband is not around, to cheat on him, to have another sexual partner because you don't have that desire
Drive.
much.
Mhm.
So now, if it comes to a situation where you are constantly initiating, you'll be like, what will happen if
I'm not around.
if I travel for work? This woman is a problem. There's something going on. So I don't think the men will think there's something wrong with them. They'll think there's something wrong with you. Your libido, mommy, is just too much.
But then her question was like, this lady wants to have it. She wants to initiate, but she
without-
doesn't know how to go about it.
Oh,
without
how?
offending
Yes.
him, like
Yes.
Probably
without
shy
making
or
him feel some
something.
sort of way and
Okay,
everything. Yes,
okay,
like
alright.
what would be the best advice you'd give for her to make
I
it?
don't
Because it's
think-
the first
I
time.
think a man can get offended.
I'm
though.
joking.
Just say like you I want.
But I was going to say, like,
But
that's the
but
thing.
you know, it
You can
depends.
be
But also,
joking,
And
wabala
actions,
kukatele
guys,
mungu so-
actions speak louder than
you
words.
know,
You don't say a
okay,
thing.
but you know, I think
It's
it's
just
you know
not.
what? It depends on the level of your relationship. If you are friends, you can just tell him, say, boy, get ready. Me, I'm ready. But then there's also that where you want it to be a bit, you know,
Yeah.
this is a bit gangster, but then you want it to be romantic.
Romantic.
You know, there are clothes that you can wear that you know this.
Yeah,
where you
this
don't
when
have
my
to
man,
say a
you don't have
word.
to say it. Just when he sees
Just
you
your actions, what you're wearing,
look
the
like
way
that,
you're
then he
walking.
knows.
And there was a counselor
Wait.
who I once heard say, love making is not in the bedroom alone. It begins way earlier. First thing in the
Thank
morning,
you. The
when
whole
your
day.
spouse wakes up, how you treat him, when he's at work, what you send him,
Yeah.
that's already love making. So
Yeah.
in doing that, you're already asking, and he already knows that, okay, when I get home later in the
During the
evening,
day,
so what
sending each other
happens?
sweet texts.
Exactly.
Yes.
So what happens later now in the evening when you are together is just the climax of what had transpired during the day.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Because again, you can't be arguing the whole day and then you just want it to be the perfect. Now there's what they call makeup sex, but I mean that's obviously after a big fight. But
But I feel like makeup sex is really good sex, right? I'm just saying.
why do they say that?
But
though?
also, do you
After
like
you're both angry at each other,
so it's like saying
Yeah,
sex
but
should
do
be
you like
aggressive.
resolve it before having it,
or it's
or
resolved.
like
It's resolved at just.
unresolved and
It's getting resolved.
it just
in
gets
the shit.
resolved.
It's getting
Oh,
resolved
okay.
in the
It
shit.
just
So after
gets
that, it's
resolved.
like
I
we
get it.
never even fought or
I get
argued
it.
and everything else.
you forget.
You forget that you even fought or argued. It's getting resolved in the shit. It's happening.
when you're done, it's like, what were we arguing about
What are
again?
we? We're good. We're good. Like, good. Yeah, so good, and you forget about it.
Forget about it.
Just forget about it. So now, before we actually break off and drink a little bit of water, I want to know. We have people that say a man wants sex on a daily. I've heard that saying before. I don't know if you have.
It's not the same.
It's true. A man needs sex every single
not
day.
need, they can have
They
it
can have it.
every day.
Yes, every day. Like it's morning, it's what time, and then there's also
They're built
this,
that way.
you know, this I want to kill this myth. I don't know if we're gonna kill it or we're actually going to agree to the myth. The best time that sex period, 0 4, 0 5, Nivazo natindeka best period sex.
Come morning
Morning
glory.
It's the best sex.
But why are you asking us?
I wouldn't know.
I
don't
don't
know.
married people. You should
No, but
be able
isn't
to-
it a man's question?
You're asking men.
So you don't feel nice also when you're having sex at 0405? It's not nice for you? It doesn't work both ways?
I don't.
First of all, I need to be up like in an hour to get the kids ready for school. So that last hour of sleep.
She said exactly what I just. So it can't.
No, but you're rephrasing your question. You're rephrasing your question.
I don't know.
Because
I wanted to answer it. Okay, so let me do this.
You asked us two things. I'm confused.
Okay,
It's time for
wait,
man,
calm
and now
down.
you're changing.
Wait, calm down. Let me do it like this. This is keeping it 100.
Yeah.
It's certainly unscripted.
Let's go on a break.
Anything? I want us to go on a break, but first I want to do this before we go on a break. We have our DOP, so I'm gonna ask. I'm not gonna mention his name or anything, but if someone's gonna read credits, they will know. So he's just gonna shout it for me in the back and tell me. Is 0405 Kaliaka period Kaya best time to actually have sex as a man?
It depends with what you had in the evening.
Yeah. So you're just finishing up with what you started in the night, right?
In the night?
Yeah.
Will put it shoulder
Agreed.
tail?
So, yeah, I never tell that what they call morning glory.
Uh-huh.
It's not every man that has that.
Okay.
But also, it determines what kind of supper, food, in terms of food you had,
Oh.
or even juice, drink that you had before you go to bed.
Uh-huh.
So that has got a major effect on the morning glory. So find that some wake up.
So what am I supposed to do? I had no idea.
We need to learn. Learn.
What does food have to do with it?
Okay, let's take a break.
We'll take a break,
Yeah.
and when we get back,
Continue telling us.
Thank you so much for still staying with us. It is keeping it 100 and still hanging out with the ladies, and we're talking sex. Nkani ya sex.
6.
Sexy.
6, you said.
Maislanga ko pangono.
Sex and
Mafunisisa ya mbege sesa. We're talking sexuality, and I'm with Mocha, Helen, as well as Ravishing. Now, before we actually went to the break, we were being told there are certain foods a man needs to eat. You know, and it's going to bed, so that's morning glory. Kapika wakachaka 03045. We have. She said no. That's the time she needs to start getting ready to get the kids to school and herself for work, and they love their sleep. So, but it's for other people out there. I would prefer sex at that time, not in the night. I love my sleep, so I want to sleep early and just. When I wake up, I wake up. When I wake up, I wake up. Nishkwasila. Sinifuna what devolve dana futana. Usiku puti ni uko ni gon. Doesn't work like that. But away from that, what I also would love to know is how can one improve their sex life and be in control? Helen.
And be in control.
Yes. Like without making a man feel less of a man, but you're still in control. But you know, you're doing the most in it.
I don't know if there's one that has to be too in control. Like I said earlier, it's a two-way thing. I like a man in control sometimes, so I want him to be in control. I think I'd feel bad if I'm the only one who is in control all the time, because I feel like I'm the only one who is interested, and he's probably not enjoying it as much as I am. So in control, if that day I want to be in control, obviously I'm the one who's supposed to take the first step and all that. And how can you improve it? Improving is, I think, like Mocha said, where she thought they had to take it back to where it started. And I think Ravishin said sometimes it becomes, it's what you're going to do, exact same thing. So you try to think of what you haven't done, what you have not done in a long time that used to excite your partner. Or you can try to Google. This Google, if you don't have a friend that you can ask, you can try to Google and say, how can you spice up your sex life? And then all that, you'll find, if you don't like lingerie that day, maybe try to wear lingerie, because you don't know how your partner will take it. If you don't like all these little things that will think, maybe even just environment. Sometimes you need to change an environment. If you can manage, you go and sleep at a lodge or a hotel, whichever way, even just one night. Okay. You can do that. Sometimes even just making romanticizing your house. If you have the,
I like that word.
if you have the chance to, if there's nobody at home, or
Not
if
if
they
there's nobody at home, send them.
Away.
send the, yes, and then try to
To
put
their
rose
grandmas.
petals.
always send them.
Do a bubble bath. You know, those little things that will just put you in the mood. And for me, if you do something like that you don't do all the time, it just feels different.
Can I put you guys on the spot?
Yeah.
I don't
It
know.
depends.
I don't know.
Depends on the sport.
It really depends on the sport. Let's
No,
try.
because I want to ask, you're talking about, you asked how you can, still be in control and
yes,
still make him feel appreciated. But what about an instance, I've heard of situations where the man won't say anything, but when you as a woman initiate something, he's thankful that you initiated it. You know, he's actually more, he receives it more, he embraces it, he's more gratifying. So why don't men say, like, is it that they don't say what they want, or they are not told to? Are we supposed to assume? Because you can't always assume that you have to be the one to try something new. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Like, should the man say, I appreciate what you, but I think they say, maybe not all.
Like, will a man come to you, in hypothetically speaking, will your spouse come to you and say, I saw this on another woman, I want you to try
No,
it?
because you judge them. You say,
It depends with what type of communication and relationship you have in your marriage. Because I like to believe in marriage there should be friendship and marriage. So if you're going to fall back at least on the friendship side, it's, I was watching something and that woman looked nice. I would also like to see if it would look good on you. So
No,
it
but I
might
think-
not look exactly as it did, but you try work around with what
I
works
think
for
how
your
you say
body
it
and how
really
you say it
matters.
matters.
Because if you see
Yeah.
something on another woman, you don't really have
Necessarily
to
have
say,
to say, I saw it
I
on
saw it
that.
on another. You can just say, hey, babe,
Babe, I was
can you
thinking.
try this? I saw this. It looks good. I don't have to know that, even if I know that you obviously saw it.
So it on
But if
another
you
woman.
emphasize on the fact that it looks good on this woman, I want you.
Because it's like going to tell your partner to say, for example, you're watching, what movie will I say? Maybe let's say 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades Darker. Because everybody needs a Christian Grey at some point in their life, in their sex life. I would love me a Christian Grey once in a while. Hey, nothing wrong with wishes. But like, imagine you tell your husband to say, look at, I like how Christian Grey did this in 50 Shades. You know they'll take offense to that. Because for them it would go back to the fact that, so all along we've been having sex, you haven't been enjoying, so you want, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's also how you communicate with your partner and how you put it out there. And I think it actually makes it.
And
I just
also,
feel like
on
men
that,
don't-
If you're watching,
you know,
if you're
men-
watching it together, it's
I
easy
just
to
feel
say, babe, we should try that. It's easier to
Yeah.
say if you're watching it together, not when I watch, like,
But also, you really need to be careful because men have egos.
Yes.
And sex is a very
Sensitive,
delicate
yeah.
and sensitive matter. Any slight mistake can completely crush their ego. So the way you handle it, that's why it's very important to know your partner and communicate accordingly.
Yeah.
So if you know my husband easily gets crushed, if I say it like this, there's a certain way you can say it so that you let him down slowly. Just say, maybe we can also try this.
Yeah.
Not that is bad. I don't like that.
No.
No, maybe
You
try
tell him
it,
that we
you
should
know?
try it, meaning let's try something new or something like.
Yeah.
But you really have to know your partner very well. Every partner is different.
Different,
My
yes.
husband is different from your husband, from
Yeah.
your husband. So it really, the way you communicate with your partners is not the way I communicate with them. So even when we're talking, don't just go because Helen said this ravishing goes to the husband and says exactly
Exactly
the way
what Helen said. So before we
And
get
then
to
me, I
our
want-
celebrity tip for today, and come give obviously our closing remarks, I want to ask: does a woman's body image affect her sexuality?
I think it does, but I think it shouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah, because let me just talk from personal experience. I think sometimes, when for me, I like to exercise and
Diet.
sometimes
Diet.
diet.
Not
Yes.
sometimes.
Not
you like
sometimes you like to diet.
I don't know how you're keeping diet the whole year.
I feel like you're
No.
on that
Are you
halfway,
dieting?
like majority. Are you
Okay.
dieting?
Are you on dieting?
I'm
Are
on
you-
a diet.
Exactly. You're always on a diet.
Okay, but sometimes, because I always fall off. I've never sustained a diet for more than a month. I'll fall off somewhere. So sometimes when my body now is in shape, like shaped up, my abs are out and I'm just like, hey, the confidence
It's 100.
is 100. And then there's sometimes where I just let myself go, and and then I notice that I don't feel as hot and as, even
Sexy as
yes. So I
Wonderful.
think it does affect
Mhm.
your sex life, but it shouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's just me. I'm sure you guys.
And
have
for
people
some,
have their
for some
personal
people,
insecurities.
some partners pass comments without knowing that they're hurting.
They're
their
hurting.
partner.
Yeah.
So that messes up their mind, and I don't think you want to be naked in front of a person who passed some negative comment about your weight,
Or your stretch
butt,
marks.
your what. Yeah, it doesn't feel right.
Because I think I had an experience with, I have stretch marks. I have very sharp stretch marks on my tummy.
Yeah.
My kids are all big when they're getting born. So I've had that before, where you feel you're not sexy enough, you're not
Yeah.
good looking enough for your husband because you've got stretch marks. But it makes it easy they build up your confidence if they tell you, like just that kind of message, like, Ish, I miss that body. I just
Yeah.
want to, like, there's always that. And I think men need to understand the type of women they're dating and appreciate how they can plummy,
And
small,
thank you. I
and
like that you
boost that.
mentioned what you got after birth. Because most women, you don't just go back.
No,
there are
no,
people that
yeah,
I won't
you
lie. I'm one of the
choose
few that my body
Snatch,
just kind of
yeah.
just. came back. But even I was scared.
okay, we get you too. We see you.
I was scared at first because I was thinking I had a
are lucky.
C-section. So
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh my God, every person with a C-section has this. Will I ever go back? Will my husband be attracted to me when he sees the C-section? Those fears are there and it affects you, but it shouldn't. You should be
It
confident.
shouldn't. Yes. Okay.
But
it
also
shouldn't.
partners,
But
you need
then
to be
how do you
supportive.
prevent it from affecting?
Let me hold that thought. I'll cut you short. Let's check on our celebrity tip for today, and when we come back, we get to wind up.
Hi there, Julian Guluve here. Tip, let's see. I'm going to get something from how I live my life. That is in the spirit of being 100, of course. You've heard these 3 words before. Live, love, and laugh. Now, interpreted in everyday life, you've got to live. You don't have to merely exist. The big man up there probably put you on this earth for a purpose. So how are you not merely existing, but how are you living? What are you trying? How adventurous are you being? And what difference are you making in your social life, in the projects that you're trying, in your career? And please be adventurous. And then let's go to live love. Ooh, I'm a hopeless romantic. But when I talk about love, it has to go across platonic love, all sorts of love. I think approaching love with a blank page, just going there in the rawest form that you can, is the purest form of love, and you get to experience it to the fullest. And then laugh. If you're living, if you're loving, laughing becomes natural. Life happens, yes, you've got your downs, you've got your highs, but when you get a chance to laugh, when you get a chance to experience joy, let it come from deep within. So yes, that's me and my tips for today.
That was our celebrity tip for today. So yeah, I just need to get you guys back in focus. So that was our celebrity tip for today. Now quickly, we need to wind up and go. I'm gonna ask for you're a yummy mommy. You've got a baby bump. Before we actually get a close off, I'm gonna put you on the spot. How's your sex life now that you're actually pregnant?
It's good. I'm sure you guys know. I've been very open, but it's good. Yeah, that's what I'll say. It's
There you
good.
have it. So we all know that sex is a very broad topic. We had so much, and everybody I think knows would have so many questions or so many things to talk about. We'll have a part 2. We'll try and squeeze in a part 2 anytime in the future. And then we also had our DOP squeeze in some. At least I've given women a tip
And I've
on
learned
what to feed
something
your
as well.
men.
That's what I like. I
Yes.
learned something today.
I learned something from our
Food and
From
DOP.
a DOP,
Yes.
what
Yeah.
food, what drinks. They need to take water, at least 2 glasses of water before going to bed. Make sure you do that. Avoid orange juice, ladies. Avoid orange juice for your men if you want to do that. Come on,
How she loves the one.
From the entire podcast team, that's Mokai, Christy, Helen, and Ravishing, and the entire production crew. Until next episode, Make sure you get to like us on our Facebook fan page and follow us on our handles. Goodbye. We love you.
Bye. So back to sex though.